So something like this, better communicate, actually dropping in with someone, naturally, like, you're already going to be more connected with that. And then we can start getting our intuition and building up these sensory, activating the five senses and getting the biofeedback.
I'm here with the great friend Greg. What's up? How are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
really
absolutely. I thought you would be fantastic for this podcast. You know, going around asking people how can we better communicate as human beings. The first thing I'd love to start talking to you about is obviously meditation, because that's something you're really big in helping people with right now. Let's talk about your career in skateboard coaching. What is that all about?
That was the first entry into any kind of spirituality and skateboarding itself, right? Like, you and I both grew up skateboarding, and I feel like that was such a great foundation for kind of like what's moving us forward today. But I digress. So it all started back in 2007, and also, again, thank you so much for having me here. Thank you for all the work that you do, all the meditations that you've brought to the community and stuff, and it's just really inspirational to be your friend, to be working with you. Thank you. What a great spot. Beautiful.
This is one of my spots.
Yeah, this is a spot right here. So skateboard coaching started back in 2007 with the town of Gilbert. My mom was really involved in like PTO and Parks and Recreation, and so they're like, "Hey, your son skateboards. You just want to coach a class for town of Gilbert?" I was like, "Yeah." It's like middle of the summer, 9 kids, 3 different skill levels. My first time coaching. I'm 17. It's like, "Oh, all right, groups of 3. You do stand on the board. You try and ride the board, and you try kick turns, and just." Spinning plates, and it's so much fun. And then around 2008, Garrett Gilbert, local growing up, awesome dude. Actually, we ended up working together this last year with Timeless Vapes. He's the creative director on a lot of their marketing. It's pretty awesome. But anyways, just another thing how skateboarding comes back around, right? The people that you get to meet. But Garrett linked me up with Jeff Jewett, who does the KTR skateboard school. He was the program director at that time, and it was just the coolest thing. So for one, it's an indoor skate park in Arizona growing up, so that was huge to have, because we had Metro Center, we had a couple other places, but they'd always shut down. It was really hard to run, but their idea is they had the gymnastics coaching, which was the foundation of Desert Devils Gymnastics, which is a long time running.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, okay. Desert Devils, long time running.
The owners were gymnasts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and Jeff kind of inherited KTR through Desert Devils, and his sons, Jet and Jagger, really wanted to skateboard. And so he's like, well, I'm going to build them a mini ramp. And it was kind of in the gym, and then it became like them learning, and then they're like, okay, we do some lessons here. But then what Jeff did was he applied the gymnastics style of focus, and that gymnastics has been worked on for years.
Just overlaid that training template.
Exactly, thank you.
Beautiful.
Overlaid the training template on the skateboarding, and it just took off. And so I came in, and so working with them, and then that's where I met my Padawan, Laser Crawford. He was 5 years old, just first time skateboarding, and he came to the skateboard camp, and within the first day he got drop-in, rock Vicky, big rock kick turn, rock and roll. I'm like, hey, your son's really good at skateboarding.
Wow.
And he's like, dude, this is day 1. I was like, what? Okay, let's go. And so we trained for the next 4 years. I became like part of the family. Like, we travel and go on trips. It was the most coolest experience growing up, being a skate coach. And we talked a little bit about kind of being a skate coach, and how during that time, it wasn't necessarily on the public eye. Like, it wasn't really cool to be a skate coach
Yeah.
during that time. And a lot of the anxiety I just put on myself when I was trying to connect with the community, and just kind of, I guess, didn't as much. But that's even circling back around, where now all the kids that I've been training are now the top skateboarders in the world.
They are,
competing.
man.
Yeah, you got Jet and Jagger Eaton. You got Laser Crawford, Sean Jordan. Used to give him rides to kind of help skating and build that whole.
I remember seeing him out at Chandler as a little kid, and just being like, I think he did like an
Amazing.
eggplant in the
Airwalk
vertical.
fakies.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sean. Man, love that guy. And getting to see them as the contest progressed, it's like a reunion. It's the coolest thing. Actually, this weekend is the Phoenix Am weekend, which is Arizona's largest amateur skateboard contest. We got Japan in the house. We got Brazil in the house. We got all the best skateboarders in the country right now here to compete. And
we went last year. My wife and Canoa went too. It was
beautiful.
great. It was great.
And live webcast today.
Oh,
But,
nice.
Yeah, they're like loving it. I mean, I got to help out with them through the Cowtown nonprofit. So, skateboard lessons started in 2007 and progressed. Around 2010, I started going more with the Crawford family, Laser and his father. We opened 91 West Skatepark, or he opened it, and I helped run it in Peoria. And that was really fun. And then after that, Laser was about like 15 or so, 14 or 15. And then he started going into filming and all that stuff. And then at that point, I went into cannabis industry, and kind of where I'm at right now with CBD for life. And oh yeah, I brought you one. The CBD for life. And that has been a godsend. That has been a really cool way to, because
I can't wait to use it, man. Especially today because we're skating Mike's bowl. So
Yeah.
as soon as I get done, man, I'm using it.
yeah, and it really helps. Like, and cannabis and skateboarding. Here's the wildest thing about skateboard coaching, and then going into cannabis, was just the counterculture of it all, and trying to work with kids and parents and break those stigmas and use cannabis as a medicine. And that's kind of where the CBD was a nice,
Introduction. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
And that's actually what we say. We're the #1 introductory cannabis product.
Nice.
But yeah, and so that was kind of a war within, where I believe in the plant as medicine, and I believe in skateboarding. Skateboarding was going Olympic, and cannabis is going commercial and mainstream. Neither of them wanted anything to do with each other because they represented the counterculture.
Yes.
Even though there's like a perfect relationship there with natural recovery, with all the pain, and just the communal aspect of their brothers, cannabis and skateboarding.
I come to mind, an early sponsor was Weed Maps.
Yes.
I remember seeing the Weed Map logo years ago. Yeah.
They're even getting a little bit of pushback, like trying to do Tampa Pro and X Games, because they're like, wait, we can't nationally advertise. So CBD for life, we can't do any Facebook ads.
Wow.
We can't do Instagram ads. We can't do Google ads and stuff. So there's still red tape there.
Yeah. It's non-psychedelic.
And it's non-psychedelic, non-psychoactive, just anti-inflammation, pain relief, nerve pain, and really organic, really natural, minimalist ingredients.
All the cells, your body knows what it is.
Yeah.
There's nothing foreign.
Yeah.
So it just goes to work.
Here's another theory about that. So we have the endocannabinoid system,
Yep.
and it lays on top of our nervous system. And it's a plant that was part of our development as a community and as a humanity for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And we took it out of our diet within the last 100 years.
Yeah.
And within those last 100 years, there's been a spike in like mental instabilities, gut instabilities, microbiome instabilities, and I feel like almost like we're missing this essential nutrient, and it's been coming back full force. And I think that's because it was part of our diet as a species, like developing.
I was reading an old Crusader, a Knight Templar diary that I got a hold of, right?
Yeah.
And he's talking about the sheep. This is when they were in India. He's riding from India,
Oh, cool.
right? And he's in the Kush area, and he's talking about the sheep as they walk past these. I can't remember what he called the plant at the time. I think it's the same word they use in the Bible.
Mhm.
But the sheep, because the plant's so sticky, it would get on the sheep,
Oh.
and then they would pull it off the sheep. And then what they were doing was what they call the orange hairs.
Yeah.
They had a name for that, where they would just collect those, and it was one of the most, one of the best things they could sell, and they would use it as an ingredient for food.
Oh, wow, kind of like saffron.
I think that's they had a word
little
for it
red
like
one.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
That's
Like it was a
amazing.
product.
Wow.
The orange hairs.
I mean, think about it, right? Like, oh, what are we gonna
And
do
what's
with
in the
all this?
orange hair? Pure terpenes, man.
Yes.
Where all the medicine is.
Yes.
I mean, just
Pure essential oils.
yeah.
I bet they started getting it on their hands, and they were just like, oh, this
Oh, put it
actually
on their face.
smells
Oh
nice.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
dreads, right? It's
Mhm.
getting that stuff in your hair, right? And then all of a sudden now you can't get it out, so then you gotta start cutting.
It's amazing how life works out like that. Like you have sheep, and the
Yeah.
sheep just naturally pick up this plant,
Bring it
and then-
to you.
and
You
bring
gotta
it
take
to
it out of
you.
him. It's forcing you to take it out
Yeah,
of him.
it's like, God's like, it's right here. Let me serve it up to you on a lamb platter.
On a symbol of a lamb.
Yeah,
That's too good. That
Oh.
is too good.
it's all
So-
laid out.
So skateboarding. So that what an incredible journey. I'm going to show some clips too of you skateboarding as well. Anything else on that?
Yeah. There's skateboarding it's so cool. So yeah, we did the coaching. Now the kids are all grown up. They're all 18, 20, and they're in the scene. And so that's surreal. That's like really cool. And I was trying to feel like, how can I still connect in the community now they're all grown up? Like they don't need me to teach them how to kickflip anymore.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the wellness came in a little bit. And it was also because I spent the last 6 to 8 years in cannabis, I wanted to be like, well, how do I bridge back? How do I build that bridge, believing in both communities? And that's kind of where the wellness came in, and the mindfulness, and because when you're on those high echelons, oh, that's beautiful.
We're looking at birds just
Some
cruising
birds
all
just
over. Yeah.
landing.
We have a huge lake out in front of us here.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
huge, but I don't know why I
It's
said
big.
huge.
Little pond.
A little pond.
That's a pond. That's huge. It's a huge pond.
That's a huge
It's
pond.
a small lake, but a huge pond.
There you go.
But so long story short, it was Cowtown nonprofit. That's kind of the avenue that I'm looking at right now. It's a nonprofit that gives back to the community, builds local parks. They give skateboards to orphans or kids that are less fortunate, and just really kind of building that safe space in skateboarding that we all know that everyone can benefit from. And so I just started volunteering with them and helping out, and that has been like the coolest thing, because I've always looked at those guys as like, those are the coolest guys. I want to connect with them, and now I'm able to connect with them through like volunteering, helping out with them. So it's just been really cool. And so that's kind of a segue to the wellness.
Yeah.
Was even in my own journey of, okay, so I'm not skateboarding anymore, and I didn't know I needed this outlet of physical activity, and I was kind of like, why am I feeling all this like frustration and anxiety and depression, and what's missing? It was skateboarding. Like I needed to get on the board and ride. But learning Tai Chi, learning meditation, and sound healing was kind of a sidestep of that also helped kind of. Then I started feeling like that energy body, and like how your environment is affected by your energy and vice versa, and the people you connect with, like
Yes.
those magnetic waves.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And then you pick up that morphic field. I
Yes.
love that. Don't you just love that in skateboarding when like there's a heavy session going down?
Yeah.
And there's an energy, dude.
Yeah.
And now the light's on you. Now it's your turn to freaking, go down the rail or
Yeah.
go off the ramp, and that energy is just flowing so high that you're going to end up learning one or two more tricks
Yeah.
that day.
It's flowing through everyone.
Yeah,
We can't
and it's
necessarily
real.
see it,
I
but we
mean, that's
feel
the
it.
scientific. It's morphic field. I mean,
Morphic
it's,
field.
It's
Yes.
incredible. It's and like you said, and you're creating that now with the skateboarding community and the cannabis community coming together, and giving back to the community. That's what we talked about earlier. Know what you're doing is right because it's giving you energy.
Yes.
If it's drawing energy from you, it might not be the right thing.
If it's building a morphic field.
That's
If it's building a morphic field, that's where you want to go.
That's where you want to go.
When it starts to dissipate that morphic field, you have to be like, hey, this just isn't working out.
Yeah, that's so true. I'm going to show some clips of the sound bath meditation that you've been doing. We opened up the Blue Lodge down in Phoenix and invited the public in. It was really cool. And you came in, we set up lights, and I remember lying there, and so I'm a practitioner of meditation, and I remember just going, into the singularity, and I'm just sitting there, and I could feel you moving around, going over everybody, and I could feel you coming close to me, and it was almost like I envisioned you had a palm tree leaf. I know you didn't, because you couldn't have brought that, and I could feel this like this electromagnetic rain being poured on every one of my molecules, and later I found out it was like a drum that you had or something with some beads. But man, when you came across me with that thing, I could literally just feel every cell just dividing, and each one of them experiencing that. It's like you divided, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it wasn't like a blast of energy, it was like little tiny grains of sand just like hitting those little pieces. It was wonderful.
Yes,
my son went, my wife went, and they loved it. It was awesome.
Yeah, each instrument has such a, it's so fun to kind of dial it in or like experiment with it. Like the shells, and they're usually made to shake up the energy, and then drums are made to like clear the energy, and then strings, they kind of like wake you up a little bit, bring the focus, and then the bowls. So the purpose of the sound in the meditation is to help get to that relaxed state quickly, and the sounds just like cut out the mind and just allow you to drop in. And then they have harmonic sounds, which make you feel good, and then you have like binaural sounds that kind of play back and forth, and you just get this like
create that hemisync, get the two going until you get the single sound.
Yeah, and that you start to feel it.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
Yeah, so we'll show some clips of that as well. Why don't we show the people watching right now?
Yeah.
Let's just do a 2-minute meditation.
Yeah.
For them, and you can join us too.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what you want to do is just find a comfortable position. This one here is one you see most people doing. That's only because it's really a good way to sit, because you can keep this core area, nice and straight. And the most important thing is to keep that spine straight, because there's blood flowing up and down your heart. You want it to carry up into your mind. And basically, all you want to do is just be still. Just be in utter stillness. If you get caught up in your imagination, you get caught up in your mind, you can say something like "so hum." And that can create that space. You can say, "Who am I?" with a question mark. Who am I? And as you're waiting for that question or that response, you can sit in that space. So that's the goal, and it does take practice. It's not like you're going to shut off all the noise, but just don't give it any energy. So let's chill for a couple minutes here. Let's give them a little example.
Yeah.
All right.
I love it. It's always in the breath.
Yeah. Share whatever you share, please.
In beginning the journey of meditation, the practicality, right? Like you're saying, it's especially getting started. And so I was just trying to focus on the breath. Hold the breath. Like you said, just feeling, just listening.
Wow, what a spot, man.
What a spot.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that bug? Yeah, it was so good.
Dude.
You could just feel it.
It's building the morphic field, right? It's tapping in to what's around us. Oh, because that's like what I feel like I'm doing with my hands. You know, I started like something, but then I was like, okay, I'm gonna tuck my spine, keep my back straight, and then. But I feel like the movements that we do are building the morphic fields and allowing it to flow more. And I think that's like skateboarding when we're in our session. It's like, and that's why the trick flows so well, is because we're in this electromagnetic alignment of our environment.
Yeah.
And when we get to tap into like the water and birds, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of like charging. It's like literally like charging.
You know what's crazy too is when you do it with somebody, skateboarding, it multiplies.
Magic in numbers.
If you get together and do nothing, that nothingness, which is a dynamic piece, it's not a static, it multiplies.
Ooh.
So wasn't our experience a little bit more multiplied because we're doing it together?
Yeah. Yeah, you can feel it. I can feel your magnetic energy.
Yeah.
And it's so wild. Like 10 years ago, people were like, "Are you okay, bro?"
Yeah, exactly. Would you guys smoke?
You guys smoking? I know you.
And we didn't smoke before this.
That cannabis there.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
So that brings us to the heart question of the podcast. You know, how can we communicate better as human beings? And this is an example of just getting together with somebody, just doing nothing is communication, just being
nonverbal
still together. You know?
Yeah.
So at your age, as an individual consciousness at this moment in your life, how do you feel we can better communicate as human beings?
Yeah, it's such a great question. I love this series so much.
Oh, thank you.
I love listening to Mike and Cosmo and all the different perspectives of this question. And I love what we just did because it's a nonverbal communication. And I feel like
we're the same in that moment.
Yeah.
We're not individuals, so like we just become one with everything.
Right. Because we are all one.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Right. So we each have this individuality, but we're still behind it all the same source.
Yes.
Experiencing through an individual experience. So having that perspective, it's like everything outside myself is myself, reflecting to myself, and that I am also a part of. And so if every moment is holy, and what can I learn from every moment as it's reflecting my outer experience to my inner worlds? And so something like this, better communicate, actually dropping in with someone, naturally, like, you're already going to be more connected with that. And then we can start getting our intuition and building up these sensory, activating the five senses, and getting the biofeedback. The biofeedback, I feel like, has been kind of lost in a little bit. Here's my theory on it.
So that is a good word, biofeedback. Yes, okay,
Yeah.
Biofeedback.
How's
Okay.
the body communicating to the brain?
Yes.
How's the brain communicating to the body? And then how's the stomach communicating to the body?
Because the chakras
and the
are
heart?
just energy centers that our brain ties up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, all and that's another beautiful map of biofeedback is the chakras, and there's so much study in them that you can dive into.
Tomes
of, oh man. And so I feel there's two types of this electromagnetic energy. There's synthetic electromagnetic energy, like TVs, phones, and all the static.
Yeah.
And it's thinner. And then I feel like there's this bioelectromagnetic energy, like water and trees and people. And that's when we feel fullness and really connected. And I feel that the synthetic is kind of masked it in a way. I read somewhere in the 50s when they were discovering radio, they got the Earth's frequency, like a 4.32 hertz, and it was interference. So they just cranked it up to mask it of like 12, 50, 60 hertz.
Wow.
And now we're up into 5G, and I don't want to be like, oh, the resonance.
Yeah.
But like, it's something to think about what we're pulling in.
Well, you can measure it. It's not conspiracy. I mean, you can measure it.
Yeah, you can measure it. So there's that, and I think we're becoming hip to it. With, even with cannabis as becoming more acceptable, you see alcohol is more of a numbing sense of our senses, and things like cannabis and even like lion's mane and reishi and these functional mushrooms, they activate our senses to kind of pull in this biofeedback more. So I think changing our diet is going to help us better communicate, becoming hip to these things, and then the biofeedback of once I understand who I am, then I can understand my place in the world and communicate. So I'm just communicating with myself in a way, because we're all one.
I know, man. I know.
God's out here having a schizophrenic experience.
We're the same being that got lonely and created individual consciousness to commune, like
It's
we're
great to
doing
be
right
here
now.
with you,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
We just gotta help ourselves
We'll just
out.
keep playing the game.
Yeah, and it is.
Playing hide and go seek, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? You know what I mean? It is, man. The more you study this stuff, the more you become aware of it. It's not that you believe it, it's just you become more aware of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. You just unveiled something really cool. And how we can better communicate as human beings is get your body healthy.
Yeah.
Right? And the biofeedback, you're right. We have lost that. We have lost that just being in the room with somebody and feeling the biofeedback.
Yeah.
Right? Good or bad. Warning. Get away from this person.
And that's usually what's left, is that extreme warning. And that's why we have the stress, because at least we're still picking that up. Like, hey, I feel unsafe around this and what's going on over there. But even
we
that
need
gets
to bring
mixed up.
that needle a little bit back. Right?
Yeah,
Totally. I love that, man. What a last question here. Again, with your individual experience, and like you, like me, you know, your eyeballs deep in a lot of the esoteric studies, which is consciousness studies.
Yeah.
Right.
Just learning about ourselves.
That's it. You know, at this moment in your life, when you look out here, you know, we're swimming in these molecules, which are swimming in the quantum realm, which are swimming in something we haven't tapped into yet.
Right.
What is this? What is going on? And we kind of just explained it, but let's keep going.
Right. Yeah. No, I love it, because it's a mirror world. Right.
It is.
So
It
everything
is.
outside myself, in my theory of opinion, everything outside myself is myself represented through the same sheer energy. So with that perspective, I should move forth with no fear at all, knowing that I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to present the opportunities that I need for myself to thrive, to build that magnetic field, morphic field, and that should be my guiding force. And I think it is just this imploded experience that's layered on everything that has turned into this ultimate mirror, and you can interact with the mirror, but I think we struggle too hard, you can kind of crack the mirror in ways, and that, you know, so yeah, I think what's going on is just this beautiful inner experience and outer projection, and we're able to kind of learn about ourselves, and it's so folded in on itself that it's been generations and, you know, generations of consequence and action and consequence and action, and they say karma coming back, and I think that's just mathematical magnetics trying to find an out through us, through our blood, through our experience, and everything is just like so perfectly mathematic that and then our influence on it. So in one sense we can be, and I think that's a really good beginning in meditation, is to just be and experience, because I think until getting to that reflection, it's super confusing. Like,
yes.
Because it's down
That's
to
why people give up right away.
Yeah. It's like, what do you mean this is like a reflection of me? Like, I don't drive that bad on the road. Yeah, we do.
Put a camera on yourself for a week. You'll catch it.
Right? Like, dang it, Greg. You're like, you cut me off.
Yeah.
I cut me off again. But it is a reflection to such an nth degree. So I think we got to catch ourselves in the middle of the inner and the outer, and then when we do, then we can interact, hopefully for good, because it also works for bad, and that's like hopefully catching ourselves in our anger or whatever, because that has such a direct mathematical effect on the mirror world of what we're putting out into it. And so we find our center, we align our chakras, and it's a constant practice.
Constant.
Because the entropy,
They're always moving.
they're always moving,
Yep.
so we always gotta set them back, and then also the astronomy, like the stars, kind of set the theme of the day. Like it's the spring equinox, so everything's kind of coming out and alive. So we take that into consideration so it's this individual experience, but this galactic experience as well. But it's all reflected, all to every nth degree. Like it's pretty wild, man. That's what I think's going on.
Oh yeah, me too.
Wow.
I cannot thank you enough. Thank you so much for coming on my podcast.
Thank you, Briggs.
Let's go
An honor to
skate.
be here. Let's go skate.